Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Here we are, like the third week into January. How you doing with that New Year's resolution? Just wondering. Maybe you need some help with that. Maybe you need somebody to hold you accountable to move that forward. That somebody could be a life coach, and she is one of those. She's an intuitive life coach, which makes a whole difference in the world. We're going to get with that. She's a Reiki master, a clairvoyant, and so much more. And she's amazing. Joan Widen is back with us. Hey, Joan, how you doing?
Good. And you, Steve? Thank you again for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you back. Yeah, doing well, doing well. Got to ask you, last time we talked, it was just like polar vortex where you are in Canada. Did it warm up a little bit?
Oh, yeah. We're above 32. We're probably in the 40s.
We talking Fahrenheit here, right?
Fahrenheit, yeah.
And thank you for that. I
I'd
can't.
like it to, be 30, but it's not.
Yeah. Okay. All
Celsius.
right. Well, at least it warmed up. And for me, all I know is 0 is 32, 0
That's right.
Celsius, right?
Yeah.
Good to hear. Well, let's warm it up here today, talking about life coaches. And I really feel the number one thing that people say is, what's the difference between a therapist and a life coach? Maybe they're similar, maybe they're not. Why don't we start there?
Okay, well, they are a little bit similar. However, we don't go into the details of, say, what your trauma is or why it's blocking you or anything like that. So basically, a life coach would go, we would ask them, so what are your goals? What are your aspirations? What do you feel like you're stuck in your life? Right? So example, someone's like, well, I want to move up in the world, but I seem to get stuck here. I can't get into the C-suites that I would like to, if that makes sense.
It really does. You want to elevate.
Because a lot of people aspire that.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's a certain type of professional who would know what that is. But at the same time, you want to attain, you want to keep moving forward or moving up. And sometimes we feel stuck and we can't figure out why that is. A lot of times it's those limiting beliefs that we might have, stuff that's stuck from our past, stuff we went through maybe as a kid that wasn't resolved. Is that something that you help people out with?
Absolutely. So we'll go into, and I'll ask you what your belief system is in relationships, for example. So a relationship at work. So then we would go through, well, what's your relationship at work? Do you hate your bosses? Okay. If you answered yes, well, then, part of your soul is going to go, well, I don't hate myself. I don't want to move up to that. And I won't let you move up to that because then we would have to hate ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's almost if you're derailing yourself because that's
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And people are like, well, no, that would be different because I wouldn't hate me because then I would be the boss. But at the same time, your energy goes, but if I am the boss, I could be like a jerk, like whoever it is, right? So you have to learn how to love the position that you would like to be in. Otherwise, your body innately prevents you from doing that and going forward.
Without you even knowing it.
Exactly. It's subconsciously there. And it's always just like your relationship with money. Well, I want to be wealthy. I want to be rich. I want to do this, right? Well, maybe when you were a little kid, your parents would tell you, oh, those wealthy people, they're jerks. So you don't be like them. Don't be money hungry. Don't blah, 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 right? So then now that's your belief system. And even though you're going, well, no, you did buy it when you were a child, right? And so we have to go, okay, well, now we're not going to believe it and let it go. But I'm going to tell you, but after years, so you're, say, 30, right? And you've heard this all your life from being a baby to 30 years old. How do you get past that? So we work on things like that. I would do some clearing statements to help you get past that, to clear your energy field, and allow you to move forward and accept the fact that, you know what, some rich people are very jerks. Yeah, sure. But does it mean everyone is? Right?
And doesn't
Whereas the
mean you have
parents
to
would
be
say,
one. You don't have to
that's
be a jerk
correct.
to be rich.
Right. But, your parents said it's a blanket statement. Everyone that's well off is a jerk. Right. So again, the same thing.
Mm,
How would your body goes, whoa, wait, we don't really want to go there, because then it's like, well, I could be that jerk. Or why would I want to be that? Does that make sense? Even though we aspire so hard to do that, we have to let go of all these messed up belief systems and patterns that our parents had instilled in ourselves, or what we picked up, say,
yes.
when we were working at a golf course or something, right?
Well, you said before, Joan, that we bought these things as a kid. Yes, and sometimes I don't. I have to say no sometimes because we didn't want to buy it. It was just it was forced upon us. We were forced to take it and accept it because it was something that you could have been 5 years old and somebody said something in the kitchen and you're watching TV and you're like,
What?
and you thought it was for you, and now you carried that with you for the rest of your life,
Absolutely.
and that could be your limiting belief. So
Correct.
as a kid, I guess you're going to buy anything. You don't want to, but it was given to you because
Right.
you're so
Because
impressionable. You're a clean slate.
absolutely.
Mm.
And all adults, when we're kids, we looked up to them, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that fun uncle, he had all these different limiting beliefs, but we didn't know why. He just didn't like XYZ.
Right.
And we're like, okay, well, I really love fun uncle. I've just accepted what he said.
Yeah.
Right? And so then it just goes on and on and on. And then how to reverse those. Again, it's you accept it, you allow it and go, yeah, you know what? You're
Mm.
right. I did buy it.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Right? Because now you're an adult and you can go, okay, it's gotten me this far, but I no longer require it and I no longer need it. Do you know what I mean? And then you
Ah, yeah.
allow it to just kind of go and see the energy moved because you yawned, and that's how I cleared a little bit. And you're just
No, I'm
going,
like, because I'm getting it. And guess what? Guess what? Everything that you're saying, I did.
right? But
Everything
so
that
the
you're
reason,
saying, I did. And it changed my life. I had many
yeah.
limiting beliefs. Uh, Even recently did timeline therapy. And that
Oh,
made I'm interested, of course, Reiki, I've done that, a bunch of times. I'm interested in finding out when you work with somebody, do you do all those modalities? Like if you
absolutely.
and is it on a regular basis or when you first meet somebody, hey, Joan, you're going to be my life coach. It's going to be great. Do you start with Reiki and that's kind of all right, we're done with that. Now we're going to move forward, or is it like 5 sessions in, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm getting some energy from you. I got to clear you out.
So basically, it doesn't matter what session you book with me, you
Uh-huh.
kind of get everything all encompassing, right?
Okay.
And so if you go, I want like a life coaching session, well, then I would go through that. And if I were to see something in your energy field, I would ask you and say, can I clear that for you? So we can actually move forward. Because right now we're kind of stuck and
Mm,
it's not going to go any further unless it's let go or cleared, right?
okay.
And so I would go through that. So, example, let's do you for a second, right? So, you bought your beliefs, right? So, think of the time where the one limiting belief for you, how old were you roughly? Where you kind of went, well, that totally makes sense to me. I allow that. I'm going to keep that. How old were you? Do you remember? If you
Which
remember,
which limiting belief? I got a
pick
bunch.
the biggest one that you would like. Let's
Uh
go.
okay.
That you are where you are and you can't go further. Belief.
In one regard, one's they're all quite important, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say I was with that one 4-ish.
Okay. Perfect. So here is where the energy work comes through, which is different than another life coach per se. Okay. So I would like to put yourself in an orb. And do you know what that is? It's like a ball, a
Mm-hmm.
clear ball,
Sure.
right? So put your 4-year-old self in that ball, pick a color.
Mm.
All
Don't tell
right.
me. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm very visual. So I'm picking a color that
Yeah,
represents.
that's fine.
And,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
and I might even use a color that I see myself in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And gray blue.
Perfect.
I don't know why.
It's funny because that's what I was going to say.
You,
Probably a blue.
you say that again. You what?
I was going to say, I'm getting a blue, but then you're like, don't say it. And I'm like, okay, I'll wait for you to get
I
it.
don't know why, and I can't tell you why, but like I see myself where I was living
Mm-hmm.
around 4 years old, and I see it, but I see it. I don't even know what color the walls were, but in my mind, they seem to be like a gray blue all surrounding this situation.
Perfect. Well, then, and that's fine. Okay, so we're going to, with your 4-year-old self, now we're going to put stuff in that orb, right? We're going to say, I love you. Thank you. I accept you for you. Put some love in there because you haven't been told that enough. That's not your family. So I love you, Steve.
Oh, thank you. I love you too.
Thank you. So then we're gonna go. What else? What else would you like? Oh, the voice again. Your voice, even though you're in communication, that's the children are meant to be seen, not heard, kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So we'll go. You're allowed to use your voice. You're gonna be amazing. You're a genius. You're all this stuff, right? We're gonna put that in there with your 4-year-old self. So now we're gonna see it start to move up into the sun, okay?
The whole
And
orb.
as the whole orb,
Okay.
right? And we're going to say, I love you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for keeping me safe for all these years and allowing me to grow to the best that you can. However, you are no longer welcome in my space. And it's time to move on. All right, and now see them go up into the light, right? He's hesitant a little bit, right? Okay, so then we're going to say, and I bless you with whatever you feel you need from me.
Do I say
Yeah,
that?
yeah, say
I
it.
bless you with whatever you feel you need from me.
Okay, so now did you feel him let go?
You know what the visual that I have, Joan, is
Yeah.
two things. Do you remember? And I think they kind of still do it, but those bigger balloons where they
Oh,
put
yes.
something in them, like it could
Oh, yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
stuffed animal or whatever, as you give it as a gift. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
visualize this orb being. And then I visualize it like a balloon being let go and just like
Yeah,
flying away and it's gone. And I see what you're saying in that. Thank you for protecting me because this is why we have those limiting beliefs.
correct.
It's to protect us, or our subconscious thinks it needs
Mm-hmm.
to protect us. It's really it's limiting us, but it thinks it's doing the right thing. So,
Correct.
what you're saying is, thank you, God bless. I appreciate you for what you've done thus far. Not really working for me anymore. So, it's okay for you to go. Go. That's
Right.
right. Be free.
Absolutely. And then
Hmm.
I like to say, I bless you with pure love and light. I bless you with purified source energy. I bless you with pure love and light. I bless you with purified source energy. One more time. I bless
Bless
you
you with
with pure
pure
love and
love and
light.
light.
I
I
bless you
bless you
with
with
purified source energy.
pure,
Purified
purified
source energy.
source energy.
Okay. Take a deep breath.
Say again.
Take a deep breath. Okay, so now how does that feel about that one limiting belief?
It feels lighter. And
right? So now go ahead.
I, when I first think of that moment, and it's not a
Yep.
horrible moment. There's
No,
nothing
doesn't
in
have to
bad.
be.
It's right, right. When I think of that, I have like a little, previously, when I thought about it, I have a little boop of anxiety. And I can tell you what's going on. There's a TV on. It's about 10 o'clock at night.
Hmm.
I see the room. Now, when I think of it, it's like, well, it's no big deal now.
Yeah.
No big
Right.
deal.
So sometimes we just get that little ping and we're like, and then we're like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
breathe it out. Let's go. Right.
Interesting. Yeah. I
So
like
then
the
you
orb
just
thing.
kind of cut it away. Yeah. And it's a great tool, especially for people that are visual, because I do think of it typically as a balloon when people don't understand what I'm trying to say. I'm like, think of it as a balloon, but it's got a string and you have to actually let it go.
You have to
And
let it go.
most people allow it to go pretty much to the very top, but are still holding on to the very end.
It's when you see a balloon go.
You just, yeah,
Have you ever done that with, like, you're driving down the street and unfortunately one of those metallic balloons go up in the sky. It's
yeah,
nice. For me, I know it can be harming to wildlife, but we won't go there. Accidents happen. So you see
right.
that metallic balloon going,
Absolutely.
grabs the wind,
Hmm.
and it's going. I keep watching it. I think it's actually cool in a way. It's like, look at it go. It's getting smaller. Do I still see it? I think I see it. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. There it is. And then it's gone.
Yeah.
This is the visual that I had, that it's just floating away and it's out of here. Um, I'm good letting the string go. I had no problem with that. It's
But at first it wasn't you letting it, like, not wanting it to go. Your 4-year-old self was like, I still think I need to be there a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And that's why
um
at the very end, and then that's why I had said, we're going to bless him with whatever he feels he needs from you. And then as soon as you said that, he let go.
so I don't want to admit that. There was, and I didn't realize it until you just said it, but I got to say it, that for a second it was like, am I doing this right? And almost like a little bit of me is like, should I be doing this? So yeah, very
Yeah.
honest with you. I'm being very honest. It was like kind of
And I appreciate that.
slightly awkward for a moment to let that go. Um, this visual of this situation,
Yeah.
I remember seeing this decades ago in my mind, and I have not
Right.
seen it. And again, it's not a big deal, but I guess it was a big deal. I have not seen that visual in that amount of time.
I
I
know.
haven't.
And it's one of those things, and it doesn't even have to be scary or traumatizing. It's
No.
just one of those things that are there, right? And we just go, okay, well, I guess we do need to let that go, right? And then you can move forward. Like, there are certain things that can be in your energy field that I would say, you know let's let go of that. But when I look into your energy field, if you're not ready for it, I'm not going to say, okay, we need to do this, because it won't go. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So the energy of that, it will be
Absolutely.
like, yeah, Joan, screw you. I am not letting that go. And that's okay, right? But as long as you're aware of it, we can work on it for future. And what that just means is you're just not ready. And that's
Hmm.
okay, because if we worked on it and we yanked it off right now, that would be like being completely raw, like you burnt your skin and then you all that skin was out, right? And it's trying to heal. It would be very painful and it would be very uncomfortable, right? So
Absolutely.
we don't force anyone to go anywhere that they don't want to in that moment. And see, I know the energy is still moving for you because you yawn, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the energy moving, and
I didn't
that's
even,
how it's moving from you.
I'm aware of everything that I do in my life. I wasn't even aware of that, and I've never done that. I'm straight up with you. I have no secrets in my. I have never done that. in one of these broadcasts ever. I know, I'm aware, and I didn't even know I did that. So it's like the energy release of like coming out, I guess, of the energy being released. And what you said before, I've always heard in that you can't accept energy. You can't accept energy healing, Reiki, anything. It's not going to work if you're not open to it. It's almost like
That's
there's a block,
correct.
right?
That's correct. But there is a difference though, because people are like, well, I'm a skeptic. Will it still kind of work? It does if your soul is ready
Hmm.
and willing for it to work. Does that make sense? So, because there's people that are skeptics and they're like, yeah, well, I don't really kind of believe in this, but I'm going to show up anyways. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
their soul is telling them, no, 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 you're going to come even if someone's dragging, kicking you and screaming, right?
right.
And then it happens.
I guess it's the difference between being slightly open to it, but apprehensive, or somebody being completely closed. No, I'm not talking to you. I got nothing to do with you. I don't want to do the energy thing, block, block, block. And then it's not going to work. It's
Right.
interesting what you do and what you offer. There are life coaches out there and many great ones, but you offer so much more. Like I do Reiki. I believe in clairvoyance or clairvoyancy, mediums, all of that, life
Right.
coaches, they're all great. You bring it all together at once. And
Right.
I don't know if I've ever used this analogy, but it's almost as if, have a plane on the runway and you're going to coach or you're going to fly the plane. Same thing in the coaching aspect. But now you've already taken the plane and it's starting to take off because you have the intuitiveness to know what's going on ahead of time or how to get that plane off the ground. Where somebody else, another life coach without those skills, it might be sitting in the hangar for a while. It's not going anywhere.
Right. Everyone is completely different. And I like to use all my tools at once to help you be the best you can be. Right. Because sometimes it's it's tough for some people to get past that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's traumas. And honestly, some of the traumas, it's like acknowledge it and that's okay. I used to go, well, let's look at that. Now I go, Spirit's like, we don't need to look at it.
Hmm.
Why re-traumatize the person? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Actually,
Well, you
we
you
don't
know
need
what,
to.
right? And you proved it today because what did you do? Or what did you not do today? You didn't
We're,
you didn't ask
go
me what
ahead.
I was thinking. You didn't tell
No,
me, you didn't say, well, what was that situation like?
no,
You didn't need to know. You just knew
because it
that
doesn't
there
matter.
doesn't matter, right? But so many people are afraid, even with when it comes to hypnotherapy. Oh, they're going to know everything that happened in my life. I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. Many times I have to know. It's just it's because the energy is there, the process is there. You got to trust the process. That's really what it comes
And
down to.
plus, life coaches were here, and it doesn't matter what it was. You know what I mean? There's there's no judgment. It's like, okay, but that's in the past. You are here today in this moment. What are we going to do in this moment of time? Was that event before really shitty and really like ouchy and traumatic? Sure. But you know what? How are you today is what matters,
Yeah.
right? Because the past is the past. We can never go back. We can't change it. And so why stay in the past, right? So, for example, I had one client who actually came for a reading instead. It
Hmm.
came for a medium healing or reading. And so what happened was it ended up being kind of a life coaching situation because he had said, well, can you talk to my dad? I want this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, your dad wasn't actually a really nice person. And he's like, yes. And I'm like, yeah, he was very abusive to you. And I said, go on. I said, but there's no need to. I said, bottom line, he was a hole. And I'm like, why are you actually living your life to try to prove to him when he's been dead for 5 years? He looked at me
Hmm.
like, whoa. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you're here. He's underground. I said, he's not sorry. You got to move on. And he
Yeah.
just kind of went, he goes, holy crap, I've never had someone actually put me in my place and tell me that. And I'm like, well, this is his gift to you. You know, you are over 50 years old.
Mm,
You haven't even lived your life because you're still worried about what your father thinks or whatever, when he never cared
yeah.
anything to do with you. I said, you need to move forward. I said, you're actually staying still because you are still trying to appease your dead father, who really, I said, wasn't that great. And I said, and your grandpa was the same. I said, he was the best he could be based on his upbringing.
Right.
And I said, now's your turn to change
Yeah.
it and live your life the way you want to, and stop living in the past
Yep.
to try to prove to someone that they matter, even though they didn't care about you.
Take back your power. And somebody
Correct.
said to me the other day, and it was so crystal clear. And they said, when you live in the past, it's usually connected to depression. When you live in the future, it's usually connected to anxiety. Because think about it. When you think of the past, oh, that happened, brings you down. You think
Yes.
of the future. Well, what if? What if it doesn't happen? Or what if it does happen? Now it's anxiety. Anxiety. If you're living now, you're all good. If you
Yeah.
can stay in the
Right.
now. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
even in the now, you'll still have a little bit of fear, right? Because you
100%,
still have to move forward.
which is
But
normal.
like,
Which is normal.
yeah, absolutely, which is absolutely normal. But if you're always comfortable, guess what? Like you just said, you're living in the past. Because what is comfort? Comfort? It's because we know with absolute certain we will be okay.
Yeah. Well,
Which means we've done it and we're in the past.
yep. Well, we're going to be absolutely okay once you get rid of that stuff and you put it in an orb and you send it off to the sky. Now you know for sure that you don't have those beliefs, those things that are holding you back. Uh, I gotta tell you, Joan, you open my eyes to give me a more crystal clear picture of how you do what you do, and it's pretty powerful. The visualizations, and you don't take crap from anybody, and I mean that in a
Kind of
good way.
don't.
Yeah. Like, were you like were you a fitness trainer in another life where you're just like pushing people
No.
5 more reps, go now, don't give me an excuse, go. it's
Oh, I
it
have a
almost seems that
story
way.
for you.
We're out of time, so unfortunately
Oh, sorry.
yeah, we'll press the pause button and then re-engage it next time we get together, but it's real
Sounds great.
simple. If somebody wants to well, I guess press fast forward on their life and move it forward. uh Easy to find you. Joan Widen. So it's Joan, Widen, joanwiden.com is your website, and free consult to start to see, if somebody has questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just give me a shout, send me an email, ask away.
Yeah. Good stuff. And put it in an orb and send it out of here.
Absolutely.
Get the hell out of here. All right. I appreciate you, and we'll get together next time. Okay.
Perfect. I'll look forward to talking to you again, Steve.
And I'm putting a
Thank you.
post-it note that says, tell me your story, because I want to hear that story next time.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.